Going to read the opening pages to An Act of Oblivion by David Helwig. Again, that is a story I found in this collection, Best Canadian Stories, 2003, edited by Douglas Glover. Now, Helwig was a pretty big name in the Canlit scene in the 1960s and 70s, more so than Hugh Graham was, who I read from previously. But in both cases, their reputations have faded. Dead white men, I guess that's part of it. But in the case of Helwig, you can see when reading his fiction why it's had trouble enduring. It took me many years to figure out that what I really want from fiction, any form of fiction, is for it to be vital and intelligent. Commercial fiction is frequently kind of vital, rarely intelligent. A lot of literary fiction is intelligent, although not necessarily, and a lot of it is not vital. Achieving vitality is actually the more difficult quality, I think, in a work of art, and Helwig really, really struggles with that. He doesn't really create scenes. He just sort of recounts details endlessly. Now, it's a very dense short story. It's a longish short story. It's 44 pages. And it feels even more dense. It feels like a novel. I mean, he goes very deeply into his thoughts. There's very little dialogue in it. There are very few descriptive passages. So reading it is a chore. I've read this story. This is my third time now. And I disliked it thoroughly the first time I read it. I'm starting to like it more. I don't usually give stories or novels that much attention. But it does seem to me that what Helwig is doing is sort of representative of a certain approach that's interesting, that will work if a reader is very patient with the work in question. But I would never advise to another writer trying to figure out how to create vital fiction. In any case, this is the opening. So there was Leah, my second wife, in bed with me and snoring. Since we had been divorced for years, the noise could have been regarded as an imposition. The next day she was to fly back to California. Ours was a short marriage, not exactly unhappy, an attempt to turn an old friendship into something more, an attempt that didn't take. My fault mostly. When she arrived at my door, Leah brought California wine and Greek olives, and no sooner was she in my apartment than she began, as is her way, to flay the world with the verb of Thersites. I think we began with her students, for she had tired of being a feminist saint, of finding girls as fresh as dew on the grass, waiting on her front steps, eager to climb into her bed. Wasn't a lesbian, and no longer thought she had a feminist duty to be, and while she was happy to put up with the young for a required number of hours a week, that was about enough. On the other hand, men. Even apart from me as a bad example, I had never been told before the extent of her grudge against Ben, that she was one of his cast-offs. In his travels, she was a minor destination. Ben was as cruel with Philip Lay in the early days, she said, allowing himself to be adored and served, or so Leah would have it, herself expressing some mixture of guilt and affection for Philip, who could never decide just who or what he was, a worrier, an occasional and incompetent lover, when they were in their London days, given to drunken tears over Ben, guilty trips to gay clubs, and she unsatisfied and always hard on him, frustrated and angry. As for my own stupidity, it was beyond all bearing. Our marriage had no chance because I was still mooning over dear dead Brenda. From the beginning, of course, all my friends recognized Brenda's destructive nature, the way she dramatized herself because she was empty, made scenes because she could make nothing else. But it was clear that I, the dimwit, found it exciting, and there was nothing for them to do but watch me make my mistakes. So, it's a reasonably intriguing opening, although it's very, very sort of Byzantine. All these little plot details, all these characters dropped in. But the entire story is like this. And so it is a demanding read.